Hello, my friends. My name is Ellen. Welcome back to my Southern Kitchen and the 7th episode of Ellen's Thanksgiving Series 2025. To me, you can't have a Thanksgiving dinner without some good old mashed potatoes. So that's what I'm going to make. And last year, I shared with y'all some buttermilk mashed potatoes, and I'll post a link to that recipe down in the description box below. This year, we're going to make some Southern mashed potatoes. And my friends, it is so simple and easy to make. And as always, it is the bomb.com delicious. Everybody's going to love and enjoy this, and everybody will go crazy over these. It is loaded with flavor. And I'll post the complete recipe along with the instructions down in the description box below. Also, check out my 2 previous videos, homemade brown gravy and semi-homemade Soul Sister butter pound cake. I'll post the link to both of those down in the description box below. So grab your seasonings and get your potatoes peeling and boiling, sugar, because we're about to cook some Southern mashed potatoes magic in my Southern kitchen. Here we go. Alright, my friends, the first step we're going to do is prep our potatoes. On my cutting board, I have 4 large russet potatoes, and we're going to peel them. I also washed them. Alright, my friends, I am through peeling my potatoes. Now we're going to cut them into cubes. Just like that, and we're going to place them into my large pot. Just repeat the process, and as soon as I get through dicing my potatoes, I'll bring you back. Alright, my friends, I am through cutting my potatoes. I got them all into my pot. Now we're going to head over to the sink, rinse them, and fill them up with water. Alrighty, I got my potatoes nice and rinsed. I fill them up with water. Now I place them onto my stove top. My fire is on high heat. We're going to sprinkle in some kosher salt. Very important to season the water. And all we do is bring it to a boil. Alright, my friends, the water has came to a boil, and I cut my fire down to medium-high heat. So now we're going to let the potatoes cook until they fork tender, about 20 minutes. And I'll bring you back. Alright, my friends, let's take a look at our potatoes. Perfect, nice and fork tender. So now I'm about to drain them, and I'll bring you back. Alright, my friends, I've got my potatoes nice and drained. I returned them back to the pot. Now we're going to add in 1/4 cup, which is a half a stick or 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And we're going to mash the potatoes. I'm using a potato masher, or you can use a fork. And the hot potatoes will help melt the butter. And as soon as I get through mashing them, I'll bring you back. Alright, my friends, I am through mashing my potatoes. Now we're going to place them back on the stove top. My fire is on low heat. Now we're going to slowly add and mix in 1 cup of half and half, which is half milk, half heavy cream, using my electric hand mixer on medium-low speed. Alright, my friends, to our potatoes, we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of full-fat sour cream. It's going to give it a nice depth of flavor. And whip that in until it's well combined. We're going to let it whip for about 3 minutes until it's light and fluffy. Alright, my friends, I am through whipping up my potatoes. Look how nice and smooth that is. That looks great. Now it's time to add in our seasonings. A half a teaspoon each of onion powder and garlic powder, kosher salt, and black pepper, or you can use white pepper to taste. And stir those in. And don't be scared. I know the potatoes are thin, but when they cool, it will thicken up. Alright, let me give my potatoes a quick taste to see if it needs more seasoning. Needs a little bit more salt and pepper. Excellent. Stir those in. And our mashed potatoes are ready to serve, so I'm about to pour it into my bowl, and I'll bring you back. All right, my friends, I've got my mashed potatoes into my bowl. There's a couple or more things we got to add to it before we dig in. A pat of butter on top, of course. And to give it a little color, I'm going to sprinkle on some chopped green onions, or you can use chives or parsley. Just like that. Isn't that pretty? And there you have it, my friends. Southern mashed potatoes. Doesn't that look good? So now I'm about to fix me up a plate and we'll give it a taste. All right, my friends, I got my plate of mashed potatoes right here, and I'll pour over some of my homemade brown gravy that I made on my last video. And again, I'll post the link to that recipe down in the description box below. Now it's time for the best part, the tasting. Here we go. Look at that. Please have a bite. Oh, there's nothing like mashed potatoes and gravy. This is comfort food at its best. So now I'm about to taste some without the gravy. Smooth and creamy, buttery. I could taste a hint of sour cream. It has great balance of flavor. Seasoned to perfection. These mashed potatoes are phenomenal, my friends. Please give this recipe a try. Yum-o. Mashed potatoes licious. My friends, many thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video recipe, please give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And for more Southern magic in my kitchen, hit that subscribe button and click on the bell so that way you'll be notified when my new videos come out. Also, follow me on social media, Facebook, Ellen's Homemade Delights, and Instagram at Ellen Delights. And please send me an email, ellenshomemadedelights@gmail.com. I would love to see your beautiful creations with my recipes. And I'll see you next time. Let's eat. Much love and happy Thanksgiving.